among others, all getting great wins. Furman got a nice win to close out its season. But South Carolina State moving on to its bowl game, the Celebration Bowl, by virtue of winning the MEAC. Congratulations to Buddy Pugh. And Newberry in overtime, going down to Pensacola and defeating West Florida in round one of the D2 playoffs. They'll head up to Bowie State this weekend. Congratulations to the Wolves. Todd Knight, I'm sure we'll catch up with Coach Knight this week since he's got a game coming up. And, of course, South Carolina and Clemson, the Gamecocks, winning over Auburn after falling behind by 2 touchdowns, holding it together, showing a lot of intestinal fortitude and good playing the last 3 quarters. Really good playing. Solid line work. Mentioned the quarterback. Just enough offense, a little over 300 yards. A call in their favor at the end on the punt that went their way, got a little break there, and sometimes you need breaks to win ball games. And they get that win. They get bowl eligible. And few outside of me thought the Gamecocks could win 6 games this year. That's right. Do not dispute me. I said back in the summer this team could win 6, maybe 7. We could pull up the tape if you want to. Pat, would you pull up the tape? Can you find that real quick?
Can I pull it up from last year when you said the same thing and they won 2? Or
we're not talking about 2020. We're talking about 2021 predictions.
I'll give credit where it's earned and deserved. And yes, you have been the only one that I've heard, even amongst friends and family in South Carolina, that thought that all season. So yeah,
in the world, only one in the world.
I think Coach Beamer probably thought that.
Well, in his mind, he probably thought so. But that is quite an accomplishment for this South Carolina football team to get 6 wins, bowl eligible. And that's huge. That is huge for their program in the first year. Keep in mind, Will Muschamp went to a bowl game his first year. And then he won 9 games the second year. And then it started slipping in year 3. And he didn't get a chance to finish in year 4. And is that right? No. 3 bowl games, then it started to slip. He didn't get to finish in year 5. So my point is, it's great to get a bowl bid under your belt in that first year. You got to build on it. But in today's world of all sports, but in particular college football, in today's world, man, if you start to slide a little bit, i.e. Dan Mullen, they don't give you a chance to fix it. You're done. You're out of there. I mean, you saw what Florida did. Dan Mullen, of course, he hasn't done well in the last. This is always the thing. They noted what he's done in the last 10 games against, big programs, Power 5 programs, and the record's not good. So he's out of there. Doesn't get a chance to fix the problem. And they cite the belief that the recruiting is not going well. So they make a change. If Florida's not careful, they're going to end up like Tennessee, wandering through the woods trying to find the right guy for about 10 or 15 years before maybe stumbling on the right guy. And who knows? Who knows if Tennessee's got the right guy? Who knows if any of them ever get the right guy anymore? Everybody wants the next Dabo Swinney or, certainly the next Nick Saban, but you're not going to find the next Nick Saban, probably. Dabo Swinney is about as close to that as possible, I would say, in that he's won 2 championships and he's going to be at Clemson his entire career. So you're probably talking, he's 52, so you're probably talking at least another 20 years, if not longer. I mean, who else in college football can you say? Ryan Day, maybe at Ohio State. He's so young in his tenure at Ohio State, but possibly he could be there 25, 30 years if he so chooses. So anyway, good start for South Carolina now with Beamer. And now Clemson up at Death Valley on Saturday. Really a dominating performance in the win over Wake Forest. Dominating. Started early. Defense made a statement on the first series. They hit the quarterback in the mouth on the first series, on the first play of the first series. And I thought that set the tone right then and there. It was the defense was going to bring it for Clemson, and then they turned around and pounded the rock with 2 100-yard rushers, over 500 yards of offense. I thought Uiagalelei took some steps forward. I thought he made one of the best plays of the entire football season in the entire country when he shook off 2 sacks and fired that pass down to his high school teammate, Bo Collins, who made a great catch That was an unbelievable play. So it was a great day for both teams. They both got critical wins. Clemson stays alive in the Atlantic Division race. They got a chance, but now it's out of their hands. They put themselves in this position. It's out of their hands, but they got that eighth win and stay in position to have a 10-win season despite everything, despite all the injuries, despite the up and down play, despite the negativity in a lot of areas. They still have a chance to win 10 games, which is pretty amazing. And South Carolina's going bowling, which is pretty amazing for them. So that kind of sets the table for the week. And we are going to take your phone calls and get your thoughts on where things are and where things are going. Take your predictions on the Palmetto Bowl. Clemson opened as a 14-point favorite. They are now an 11.5-point favorite. So obviously the money was coming in pretty big on Clemson. They've adjusted that line down to 11.5. Clemson's still favored. How do you think it's going to play out? Who do you think is going to win and why? We'll have some fun as well as you want to drop in a Clemson or Carolina joke one way or the other. Always open for that this week. And, of course, throughout the week, we'll have our regular experts on with us as well. So we've got a full week except for Thursday. There is no show on Thursday. But we've got a full week otherwise of great preparation for the ball game. Now, let's welcome in Matt Smith. Smitty is down at the home base in Charleston. He was up at Clemson on Saturday. I was at USC on Saturday. And Chris Bergen is also joining us. He's still in the Bahamas. I don't know if he's ever coming back. I mean, my goodness, Coastal's yet to play a game, and you've been down there for like a week.
Yeah, we got down here Friday, Phil, and scheduled to play tomorrow. However, funny sidebar to this is we actually had severe thunderstorms come across the island today, and they are playing inside a ballroom here at the Grand Hyatt Hotel in Nassau. And unfortunately, evidently, the roof is not sealed all that well. They actually had a leak into the arena, and I use that term loosely, into the ballroom where they're playing. And so it had to delay. They've actually stopped the second game of the day between Drexel and Tulane with about 7 minutes left to go. They are hoping to restart that at 7 tonight. Then they still have one more game, Jacksonville State and Valparaiso, to play later on tonight. And Coastal gets the winner of that game tomorrow evening at 5:30, assuming we don't have any more weather delays in a basketball game.
Oh, my goodness. You're not supposed to have thunderstorms in the Bahamas.
Let me tell you, these were severe. Some of the worst lightning I have seen. I was disappointed. I was planning to spend a couple of hours out. We went to the beach yesterday and thought, might take in the water park today. But, yeah, Mother Nature had other ideas. So it has been an adventure. We've had a good time. But getting down here was a challenge, and maybe getting all the basketball games played may be a greater challenge. We shall see.
It sounds
We do
that
have
way.
one winner, though, thus far today. Toledo did knock off Charlotte in the opening game a bit earlier today.
All right. And, of course, earlier today, the USC women got the week off on the right foot for Gamecock Athletics. 73-57, 1 versus 2 at the time. 73-57, USC women over UConn in the Bahamas. And so they win that tournament. And it was really a game that was kind of flipped and flopped. Connecticut got off to the big start early. They had the Gamecocks down double digits. USC gradually fought its way back into the ball game and eventually took the lead. And then defensively, the Gamecocks put the hammer down. They allowed Connecticut just 3 points in the fourth quarter. They finished up, the Gamecocks did, with a 10-0 run over the final 4:38. And so a convincing win for Dawn Staley and the top-ranked Gamecocks, sending out a message across the country. They beat number 9 Oregon soundly yesterday, and they beat number 2 Connecticut very, very soundly today. Leading the Gamecocks in scoring today was Boston with 22. She also had 15 rebounds. I think that's her first double-double of the season, 22 and 15. Cook had 17 points, and Henderson had 15 points for the Gamecocks. So a great win for South Carolina women's basketball. Smitty, is that going to carry the Gamecock faithful through the week into Saturday? They've also got the women's soccer team in the Elite Eight. Everything's coming up winners for the Gamecocks.
They are riding high, Corn, and I'll tell you, I was surprised at the way they played against Auburn. I was surprised they came out and were able to run the football against that good of a defense. And as you pointed out, just a tick over 300 yards of offense. So we know who South Carolina is offensively, and I've got to tell you, Clemson is very much the same. After watching them against Wake Forest, yes, over 500 yards of offense, but DJ Uyunglele is still inconsistent. You mentioned the great play he made, the highlight reel play he made, and I can't argue. It's one of the best plays I've seen with my own two eyes in my lifetime. And then he goes out and he misses the next two receivers.
Mm-hmm.
It's just the inconsistency is almost baffling to somebody that has those kinds of physical tools. But pushing that aside, what does the game look like moving forward? Obviously, South Carolina wants to run the ball with their stable of backs. And I really like Clemson's running game. Whatever Robbie Caldwell has done to this offensive line, it has improved week to week. And they're playing really well right now. And I think Tony Elliott finally decided he's going to make Kobe Pace his bell cow. I was just glancing at Kobe's numbers after the game on Saturday, and when he gets double-digit carries, he produces. 24 carries, 191 yards, and a pair of touchdowns against Wake Forest. Let's not forget, against Boston College, because of injuries, he was forced to be the bell cow in that one. 18 carries, 125 yards. Kobe Pace is averaging 6.3 yards per carry. It has taken Tony Elliott until November to decide upon this, but I think heading into next week against South Carolina, I think Kobe Pace is your number one Clemson running back, and I think he's going to get 20 carries against South Carolina. And so now the game comes down to, is it Clemson's offensive line or South Carolina's front seven and that Clemson running game? Who stops whom on Saturday?
Excellent points. Looking forward to it. Should be, I think, a better game than we've seen in the previous 6 years. I think we're going to see a much more competitive game. I'm taking Clemson. I think Clemson wins the game, but I think they do not cover. I don't think the 11.5 is going to be reached by Clemson. I think South Carolina will make this a fourth quarter game with a chance to win in the fourth quarter. After watching them on Saturday and then watching them at Missouri, the improvement by Jason Brown in particular was amazing. And playing at home, the Gamecocks are 5-1 at home this season. That lone loss was to Kentucky in a close game. So playing at home, Gamecock fans should be there in full throat. This team seems to play better in the friendly confines of Williams-Brice. I think Clemson wins. I just think they're too talented still, too much defense still. But I think the Gamecocks will make it a close one this time, and that'll be improvement. And back in a moment.
I'm attorney Jim Corbett. I love sports, and I've helped people for over 30 years. Contact me at jim@jimcorbettattorney.com when the insurance company won't pay your claim or you have complicated issues. Some other business causes your business to lose money, jim@jimcorbettattorney.com. When you lose a relative and find out you got cut out of a will or don't get what was promised. When you have serious injury, like from a wreck or mishap or on the job, jim@jimcorbettattorney.com.
Parents ask, what's the best way to save for college? I'm State Treasurer Curtis Loftus, and my answer is always open a Future Scholar 529 college savings account. It's easy. You can get started online with any amount. It's flexible to adapt to your child's college dreams. And you can deduct 100% of your contributions from the South Carolina state tax return. So what are you waiting for? Go to futurescholar.com and see why it's the smart, easy way to save for college. futurescholar.com.
We understand how important it is to have transportation you can rely on. So no matter what the road ahead brings, we'll be there, offering you and your family the support that's made Farm Bureau Insurance a trusted name for nearly 70 years. You deserve more. You deserve a promise. Learn more at scfbins.com.
Call Buddy Bridges in Lawrence County at 864-923-2174, covering Lawrence, Clinton, Joanna, and the shores of Lake Greenwood.
COVID-19 booster shots are now available for those 65 and older, long-term care residents, and those 18 and older with underlying medical conditions or at high risk. See if you're eligible at scdheck.gov/COVID-19 booster. Keep fighting the spread. Wear your face mask. Stay 6 feet apart. And get vaccinated. Join us and fight the spread. Visit scdheck.gov/vaxfax.
All right, I know a lot of you want to jump on the lines. We're going to take as many calls as we can this week. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, off on Thursday, and back on Friday. You want to try that again, Pat? Let's do a redo. Pat made I'm not going to say it, an error. We're going to do a little redo here on the bumper music because you know our tradition on the week of the Palmetto Bowl. What is our tradition? I'll get you in the mood. Get you in the mood for the game. I know it's still several days away, but it's on everybody's mind, maybe more so this year than in many, many years because Gamecock fans are energized. They're enthused now. They're not ready to fire the core. Looks better, smells better, tastes better, sounds better when you win. And that's how I think Gamecock fans are feeling right now. But Clemson fans are feeling pretty good too, having put together a little winning streak here. They're on the verge of getting back into the national rankings, and they are still alive for that Atlantic Division title. Our phone number, 888-898-2525, and is the South Carolina Education Lottery lucky number into Sports Talk. Did you know that since 2002, more than $829 million in lottery proceeds have been used to fund lottery tuition assistance for students attending technical colleges in South Carolina? Learn more about the South Carolina Education Lottery's impact at sceducationlottery.com/education wins, and playing for fun is a win for education. All right. We will take your phone calls. We're going to take as many calls as we can. And let's go to Hank in Columbia. First up tonight on Sports Talk. Hank, welcome in. Good to have you with us.
Hey, Corn, how's it going?
We're doing great. How are you?
I'm doing all right. It was enjoyed the game Saturday night. I tell you, a lot of people made fun of Beamer earlier about him still extolling that the team played hard, even when we got games we get blown out. But by them continuing to play hard every play, it put them in position to win games like Saturday night. Because even when Bixby would get loose, their defense would come back that next play and not give it up. It was kind of like they got the yards in between the 20s, but they kind of clamped it up when they would get near the end zone. So it was proud of the football team on their win. And
yeah, they came up big that one particular series when Auburn had the short field and the Gamecocks limited them to a field goal and they missed the field goal. That was a great defensive stand for them.
Yeah, and you got to think about White. White played relentless, and it made the other players seem like they played relentless. Him and Harris, when they just kind of riding those two as running backs, really were making timely plays. I was pretty good with the game Saturday night. I thought it was a great win for them. For this team to win 6. Now, Vegas and everybody had them at 3, and then people were optimistic would have them at 4 or 5. So for them to win 6.
And Hank, what did I have them at?
You always have your crazy predictions, but I was glad you picked against them because when you picked against them, you were going to the game. I was worried about you to jinx, but when you picked against them, I said, well, at least you picked against them, so that should do well in our favor.
Well, considering I think I'm next to last in our pick'em contest. I'm not doing great against the spread, and I took and I quit pick. The Gamecocks have burned me so many times. I took Auburn. Mm-hmm. And gave the Gamecocks the points. And, of course, what happened, it worked against me this particular time. So, yeah, a little bit of up and down. But I did think going into the season, of course, I didn't know what was going to happen at quarterback. I thought Luke Doty, who knew he was going to get hurt and really not be a factor, I thought the offensive line would have been better from the get-go. I thought the defense would be solid from day one. And for the most part, they've been solid, if not spectacular in some areas on the back end. But they are giving up. They've allowed 7 running backs to rush for 100 yards or more against them this season, including, of course, the last 2 games. And with Clemson's hot running game, and thank you, Hank, for the phone call. With Clemson's hot running game, Smitty, I got to believe that Tony Elliott and that crew up there, they're going to line up and try and pound the rock on the Gamecocks and also try and use Uyangalele's running abilities up the middle, too. and see if they can wear down the defense that way. That would be how I would approach them.
I think so, Corn. And as these two teams have evolved, you see that they both have become running teams. That's who they are at their core when they're playing well. They've got to get the run game going. And one thing I was going to say off of Hank talking about the team playing well and winning 6 games, another thing that has evolved, if you remember early in the year, not only Marcus Satterfield, Shane Beamer was taking a lot of heat for those 4th down calls. They were going for it on 4th down, and the receivers were running short of the sticks and all these issues on 4th down. But what they did was Shane Beamer got his club in a position where they understood 4th down, and they did it so often that both late in the game against Mizzou, 4th down touchdown, and then against Auburn, they threw to Zaquandre White, 4th down touchdown. So it seems that what's happened is the players have responded. It didn't work for the first 5 games. Didn't work through the first 8 games. But here late in the season, it seems like South Carolina has kind of latched on to Shane Beamer's confidence, and they're starting to make plays on crucial downs that they weren't making early in the season.
Well, it was Auburn that made the silly mistake of going for it on downs in their own territory, and the Gamecocks, Chris, made them pay. I mean, that was a gift. They handed them that touchdown from 35 yards out.
I know Auburn fans were upset about the review and the overturn of the punt fumble, but that's not where they lost the game. You're exactly right. That's where Auburn lost that game, because they had some momentum, and Brian Harsin just basically handed it over to the Gamecocks and said, here, take it. And when that game was tied at 14-14, the stadium's back into it. The Gamecocks go into halftime. They feel like they've got a shot to win, and sure enough, they come out and outplay Auburn for 30 minutes in the second half. They were the much better team in the second half of that game. And you brought up an interesting point, Phil, about win total. And Hank talked about what Vegas set for the Gamecocks before the season began. You know, I'm curious if you had been able to tell everybody what was going to happen to the Gamecocks. Don't tell them whether or not they were going to win ball games, but that Luke Doty wouldn't play at quarterback, and you'd have a guy from the FCS level transferred in. He was going to be the starter. How many wins do you think legitimately people would have believed South Carolina could have pulled out if you laid out the season, but then told them prior to it starting, all right, this is what's going to happen to USC. How many games do they win?
Yeah, exactly.
2?
Yeah. Take the under. Take the under.
Easy.
But let me ask both of you now, and I asked you too, Pat, all 3 of you, real quick. Give me your take. Now, look, there's no guarantee had Auburn gotten the football on that last punt that they'd have gone down and scored. They still had to go get a touchdown. They'd have to negotiate 79 yards. It was 21-yard line, 79 yards to score and win, which they might have done. They might not have. But I looked at that thing, over and over and over again. And, the rule is when you're going to overturn the call on the field, there has to be indisputable, conclusive evidence on the replay. For the life of me, I could not tell. It might have brushed him or it might not have brushed him. If the call had been on the field that he had been brushed and it was a recovery for the Gamecocks, and then they reviewed it and overturned it, that it had not brushed against him, I'd feel the same way. I don't see how you could tell one way or the other. And my point is the rule says it has to be indisputable and conclusive. I don't know how the replay officials came to the conclusion that that was indisputable evidence on the replay.
And I don't think reaction of the player involved is supposed to play into this, right? Because the Auburn player, if I'm not mistaken, sort of acted as if it had touched him and hustled back to try and at least make an attempt to recover the football. But I'm like you, Phil, looking at it, and I've even seen it blown up enough where you can barely tell. Maybe it did nick off his knee pad, but yeah, I didn't see enough to overturn it.
Guys, I hadn't either, but I want to tell you quickly, I'll send you this image. I actually have an image that I didn't see. I didn't see originally, but I have an image where it did hit the Auburn player, and this must have been what the officials got.
Okay, we'll hit a break. Be back in a moment.
On Point Weather is made possible by our friends at Palmetto Citizens Federal Credit Union on 107 The Point.
And here's tonight's forecast. Very chilly this evening with low temps dipping to 31. Tomorrow morning will be very cold with wind chill temps in the mid-20s. We will get a sunny day, though, with a high of 54. Tomorrow night's low is 27. Chilly on Wednesday with sun and 55. Warmer for Thanksgiving Day with a high of 65 in the mix of sun and clouds. Brian Leonard with your On Point local weather.
A well-regulated humidor being necessary to the preservation of a cigar, the right of the people to keep and enjoy cigars shall not be infringed. For those who love a great cigar and want to spend time with others who are like-minded, the Cigar Militia offers the experience you're looking for. We're located in the Colonial Village next to the Melting Pot. The Cigar Militia offers exceptional cigars from around the world, staff to assist you in your selections, private cigar lockers, and a lounge where members can relax and enjoy.
With SRN News, I'm Jason Walker. Authorities are preparing 5 charges of intentional homicide against 39-year-old Darrell Brooks. That in connection with yesterday's Christmas parade crash. Police say Brooks was in a domestic disturbance just moments before the parade incident. The victims, by the way, include 4 older women and 1 elderly man. Kyle Rittenhouse says he is not a racist person and that he supports the Black Lives Matter movement. Rittenhouse acquitted Friday on charges stemming from killing 2 men and wounding another. 18-year-old tells Fox News the case has nothing to do with race. President Biden nominating Jerome Powell for a second term as Federal Reserve Chair. And it's costing you more for a big Thanksgiving dinner this year. This is SRN News.
It's that time of the year again, the chance to save on great Black Friday sales, and Shooter's Choice is in the holiday spirit. Phenomenal deals on firearms, ammo, scopes, and accessories. The doors open Black Friday at 6 a.m. and great deals last all weekend long. Want to learn more about these deals? Check out Shooter's Choice on Facebook and Instagram for more info. But remember, the best deals are in the house for Black Friday. Visit Shooter's Choice in West Columbia, Sunset Boulevard. The best selection, the best prices for the holiday season. Make it your first choice, your best choice. Make it Shooter's Choice.
Every Friday morning at 9 a.m. on The Point, join me, Chad Jordan, and my co-host Larry Jordan for the Palmetto Real Estate Pros. We'll help you out whether you're looking to buy, sell, or just learn all things real estate every Friday right here at 100.7 The Point.
Deer season is here and we all want to be successful, but our safety should come first.
A simple way to stay safe is to wear Blaze Orange as you walk to and from your stand.
Probably the best way to stay safe is to wear a safety harness.
Put it on, hook it up to a lifeline, and let the tree keep you safe from a fall during your hunt.
Lastly, always use your binoculars and not your rifle scope to look at and identify things while you're deer hunting. Woods and Water, South Carolina, your host Roger and Taylor Metz want you to be around to enjoy many deer seasons to come.
Just remember, the accident you might prevent, the life you might save, just might be your own.
Hey, I'm State Representative Chris Wooten.
And I'm State Representative Micah Caskey.
Join us on Wednesday mornings at 9 a.m. on The Rep.
We'll talk about everything that's happening at the State House and give you an insider's perspective.
All from the General Assembly. So join us at 9 a.m. on The Point, 100.7 FM or 1470 a.m.
Everyone knows that here at The Point, we are all about supporting local businesses. We are all about local, local, local. You cannot get more local than my friend Greg McCoy and his business, Simplified Mortgage Solutions. Fran Halloran here. If you're buying a home or you're looking to refinance your current home, you owe it to yourself to call Greg. He is the real deal. You can expect Greg to treat you like you are his only client. You can expect Greg to scour the market to find you the best rate available. You can expect Greg to charge you a fair price for his work and his service. Why would you deal with some national company headquartered in who knows where when you can do business with Greg? Need further persuasion? Okay, I didn't even mention the good Greg does in our community by supporting local charities like Blue Star Mothers and Camp Chemo. Come on, you need to call Greg. Online at simplifiedmortgagesc.com, or you can call Greg at 803-722-6044. That's 722-6044.
Is that crack in your windshield or your house bothering you?
Have you been meaning to have it replaced but just can't find the time?
Call Absolute Glass, voted Lexington's best glass shop for 12 years in a row.
We repair and replace glass on all makes and models.
We're the only local high-end auto glass specialist in the Midlands, and we'll come to you to make the process quick and easy.
With new technologies and vehicles, we can recalibrate your vehicle back to new.
Visit AbsoluteGlassInc.com to learn more about our auto, home, and business glass services. Just remember, if you can see through it, we can do it.
Back we are on Sports Talk here on the week of the Palmetto Bowl for 2021. Good to have it back. Don't anybody tell Greg Sankey of the SEC that they're playing the Palmetto Bowl this year. He'll try and step in and cancel it for another year. You know, Idiot. And don't tell them that Georgia and Georgia Tech are playing, Florida State are playing, and all those other interleague traditional rivalries that were interrupted last year. Our phone number, 888-898-2525, South Carolina Education Lottery lucky number here on Sports Talk. Let's continue with your phone calls. George in Irmo, you're up next here on Sports Talk. Good to have you with us. Welcome in.
Hey, thanks for the call. Enjoy the show.
Yes, sir. Go ahead, George.
He's gonna.
Yeah, we got you.
You there with me?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
You know that Venable is going to blitz all night, and Clemson's got a very good, fast defense. So I want to know your thoughts on what do you do? I mean, the coaches need to be preparing for that. I say go old school, wishbone, bring in the tight ends, and when they blitz, you do the quick slant, make them pay, or roll him out. You can't just the game plan they've been going with is not going to work against Clemson. Now I heard a while ago it dovetails to what your other guy was saying. If you establish the run, but I just think if the coaching staff for Carolina does not think out the box this prep week, then you're right. They will lose, and they probably will not cover the spread. Yeah. They've got to look because Scouts may go out on a targeting, but they're coming. They did it against Wake. They totally disrupted them. So what are your thoughts on how do you and just to say win the line of scrimmage? Just concede that you're not going to do that. What do you do to counter that quick blitzing defense of Clemson?
Yeah, I'm going to tell you. Screen passes is the number one enemy of a blitz. Unless, of course, you pick up the blitz and you have receivers who are good enough to beat their man coverage and find the open space, and you have a quarterback who's cool enough under pressure to stand in there, take the heat, and throw the pass. Otherwise,
that's the question mark. Yeah.
Otherwise, screen passes. You have to guess right, but if you guess right against the blitz and you hit and you're guessing the right side of the field, if they're blitzing from the right side, let's say you throw a screen pass to the right, it's going to be wide open. Same thing to the left. So that's one way you counter a blitz. If you can guess right as an offensive coordinator, play caller, or quarterback, and you sense it, you can get in the right play. You can make a lot of yardage that way. That's one thing I would do, Chris. You've watched a lot of football from the sideline. You've seen it. What do you think?
I'm sorry, Phil. I could not hear the caller over the air, so I'm not quite sure what he was asking or posing.
Well, he was asking about Clemson bringing pressure, a lot of pressure on the Gamecock offense, and how would you counter that play-wise?
Oh, I think you probably hit it on the head with regards to the screens. We haven't seen a whole lot of those, though. The one play that South Carolina ran for the first touchdown to White, I thought was a beautifully constructed play, might work against the blitz, and certainly maybe some draws and that type of thing to try and slow down the front seven, because if Clemson's able to get pressure on Jason Brown, he's still learning whether or not to slide and move in the pocket or to tuck it under and run. And I think he's still in that learning phase. And Clemson's defensive front, maybe not the best group you need to go against when you're still trying to figure that stuff out.
Well, one thing, and thanks for your phone call, Smitty, one thing I would not try and do if I'm South Carolina is run wide on the Clemson defense. I think that Murphy and Henry, I know Maskell was out Saturday, but throw in Xavier Thomas on the defensive ends. I think they run too well, and they're going to have corners up on the receivers. You try and run wide, I think there's going to be too many Tigers out there to block. I don't think you'll be successful if you try that.
No, I agree with that, Corn. Getting to the perimeter, ask Miami, ask North Carolina. I guess it was 2 seasons ago when they tried to run to the perimeter for a 2-point conversion. Too much speed. The way Clemson is set up, they play on their toes as linebackers. One thing I would add to your screen passes, and you're on the money with that, Corn, the tight end position. I watched Clemson against Wake Forest. They completely evacuate the middle of the field. They will bring not just James Skalski, Nolan Turner from the safety position, and evacuate the middle of the field. And at that point, Wake Forest eventually caught on about the middle of the second quarter and started running their slot receivers over the middle and found some gains there. I think Nick Muse could be a key component for South Carolina if Brent Venables stays that aggressive.
Well, they only threw to him one time. He caught it for 15 yards against Auburn. Only threw to him one time. They did not throw to Bell at all. And the other tight end is basically just in there to block. White had 3 catches for 69 yards. Josh Van is South Carolina's go-to guy. If Clemson double teams Josh Van, then South Carolina's in a lot of trouble. Not that they would do that. They probably feel like they can cover him man on man. 3 catches for 37 yards. They didn't throw the tight end against Auburn for whatever reason. Like I said, Muse had 1 target, and no other tight end had a target against Auburn. And that should be a strength of the Gamecock offense, I would say, throwing you those tight ends. But they didn't do it. No Jaheim Bell. Jaheim Bell didn't have a touch. I don't know. Again, I don't understand why a guy like Jaheim Bell, who's been so good for you, didn't get a touch. But it worked out for him in the end, nonetheless. 888-898-2525. South Carolina Education Lottery lucky number here on Sports Talk. Couple of lines are open. Taking your calls about South Carolina Clemson, how you think the game's going to play out, what each team should do to win the ball game. Is this the year South Carolina ends the streak? Will the Gamecocks make it close, or is Clemson going to blow the Gamecocks away? More of your calls in just a moment. I want to remind you that if you're thinking about your summer vacation plans, put you in the right crib, so to speak. You need something large, they got it. You need something smaller, they can put you in that as well. 843-237-4246, your perfect beach getaway for the fall, the winter, the spring, or summer. That's at James Smith Realty, Paulie'sVacationRentals.com. By the way, part of the Gamecocks Good News Day, they got a commitment today, and Shane Beamer put out his commitment alert tweet about 11 o'clock, a little bit after 11 o'clock, and nobody has been identified. My guess is that it's DeAndre Martin, the defensive tackle, who was in for his official visit over the weekend. We'll talk more about him in recruiting, but I think that one looks very good. If it's not him, then that's an even more positive thing for South Carolina, because that means it's somebody else. And I think they're going to get DeAndre Martin when he announces on December 15th. But I'm thinking that's probably who it was for, but nobody is ready to go public with anything just yet. Back to your phone calls as we go to Billy in Surfside Beach. Hello, Billy. Welcome to Sports Talk.
Hey, Bill. I hope I see you down with Alan and Ken and all them at Rivals. Hopefully work will allow me to get there and chit-chat with you a little bit.
We'll be there. We'll be there. 6 o'clock in the morning on Wednesday. For those wondering what we're talking about, every year our good friends at our affiliates in Florence host a 4-hour Clemson USC marathon from 6 till 10 at the Rivals, a house divided or a store divided. Is it store divided? A store divided.
Store divided.
Yeah. Right there in Florence. And they invite me to come in and be there. So that means an early rise for me on Wednesday morning. But I'll be there.
Do you know that there's a 6 a.m.? I know you know 6 p.m. because that's when our show starts, but you do understand there's also a 6 a.m., correct?
I don't usually know the feeling of 6 a.m. and I don't really recognize it. I live by the philosophy that, like Steve Spurrier used to say, nothing good happens after 2 a.m. You catch a bullet.
He's right.
Yep. Well, I feel like nothing good happens before 11 a.m. So that's my approach.
Understand.
Yeah. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Billy.
And I know if you're in the PD, you're going to go and visit Latta. I know you are. You're going to go visit that Town of Champions.
A home of champions. Yes. Yes.
A home of champions. There you go. Hey, I just got a prediction real quick on the game, and I've just got a question for Chris, and I'll make it quick, as quick as possible. I think the spread's about 11.5. I think Clemson around about 30 to 14. I think I'll give you a quick stat line, Phil, on Jason Brown. Clemson defense will sack him about 5 to 6 times, about 12 to 15 hurries, 2 picks. He might make it through the game. I can't give you that exactly. I just think that he's not fast enough to get away from that Clemson defense. And I'm like I said, I'm saying about 30-16 is what I'm saying. And I've got a question for Chris. Chris went against you, Phil, I don't know, it was last week sometime. It might have been Thursday. I don't know, Thursday week. I caught you on the way back from the beach. He picked Wake Forest to win because he said they were the better team, and you picked Clemson, and you gave specific reasons why you did. I've got to ask Chris, are you going to comment on your prediction on an injury-depleted Clemson team that absolutely curb stomped, missing every starter as wide receiver, and Bo Collins has emerged as a starter, or has emerged as a star. But my whole point is, are you going to comment on your prediction about Wake Forest being the better team against the injury-depleted Clemson team? And I'll take it off there. Thank you, guys.
Billy, appreciate that. Oh, it was terrible. How could you look back and think that anybody was the better team? I thought Clemson played maybe its best game of the year. And my only question about why hasn't Will Sweeney started?
He makes all the difference. He makes all the difference.
No, I was totally wrong. And Wake Forest looked lost. And Smitty, I think, summed it up perfectly throughout the ball game about just how dominant Clemson was on defense. It wasn't just the offense that played well. Clemson's defense, as you mentioned at the outset of the show, Phil, set the tone. I could not have been more wrong on that. And Wake Forest looked lost. I am curious, though, about the mindset for Wake Forest and Clemson going into this weekend with regards to the Atlantic Division. Of course, Wake Forest and NC State both need to lose for Clemson to win the division. NC State and North Carolina play on Friday. If NC State were to win that game, what is Clemson? I realize it's Carolina, Clemson, and all that stuff, but what is their mindset going into Saturday, knowing that the division championship is off the table for them? If NC State were to win on Friday night.
Yeah, I think that I think Clemson's going to be totally focused on this. This is one of their priority games. You know, they divide their season up into different priorities, and they've checked them off. You know, they haven't gotten everything that they were hoping to get, but you know, I think that their focus will be on beating South Carolina in the state championship. Totally, whatever else happens to take place around the ACC, I don't think it's going to affect them. You know,
I think you're right. I mean,
they know even if they'd love to go win an ACC championship, but they're not going to get in the playoffs, and that's their ultimate goal every year. And so, you know, they could enhance their bowl possibilities by that happening and them getting to the ACC championship game, of course, and winning that. But I don't think it's going to, Smitty, I don't think it'll take, they won't take their eye off the ball, I don't think, regardless of what happens with NC State or Wake Forest over the weekend.
No, I don't think so either. And a lot of people give credit for Dabo Swinney for being a great leader and motivator, and that's fair and true. But you know what I think happened here on Senior Day is a lot of leadership from inside the locker room, like James Skalski and other players. And I think that this is a group that will take great pride in never losing to South Carolina if they pull that off Saturday. So that's part of the reason I think they came out and played. And I should have seen that. I picked Clemson to win, but I thought it would be a close game and Wake might cover the 4.5. One thing I should have taken into account is not just how Brent Venables has performed against Wake Forest, but the pride of this Clemson club. There's still a lot of veteran players on this defense, and when they have to, they bully other teams, and that's what they did to Wake Forest, and that's what James Skalski and company will try to do to South Carolina. So I agree with you. Their focus will be on not losing to South Carolina while they're wearing that orange and purple.
And what was it Darian Rencher said after the ball game? They're still Wake Forest, and we're still Clemson. I think to answer Billy's question, that sums it up as well as I could have.
All right, let's hit a break, and we'll come back with more of your phone calls. The phone number, 888-898-2525, South Carolina Education Lottery, lucky number here on Sports Talk. If you're just tuning in, it's been a busy, busy night taking your phone calls. We talked about South Carolina women defeating UConn earlier today, 73-57. We'll try and work in a few comments from Dawn Staley, time permitting. Get a break. Be back in a moment.
The Touchstone Energy Cooperatives Bowl is back for 2021, showcasing the best South Carolina high school football has to offer. Get your tickets now at touchstoneenergybowl.com and make plans to join us in Myrtle Beach on December 11th in celebration of Palmetto State All-Stars from the Upstate, Midlands, PD, Grand Strand, and Low Country. Visit touchstoneenergybowl.com for a full schedule of the week's events leading up to the game and Mr. Football South Carolina award presentation.
Hunter Helms in at quarterback, drops straight back in the end zone, fires deep. He's got a receiver up the seam. 45, 50, 40, 30, 20, 10, 5. Touchdown for Omarion Dollison.
That's the Touchstone Energy Cooperatives Bowl, kicking off at Myrtle Beach High School's Doug Shaw Memorial Stadium, 12:30 Saturday, December 11th. Get your tickets now at touchstoneenergybowl.com.
We've got Major Billy Downer with us here from the Department of Natural Resources. Major Downer, hunting season is upon us. How do we stay safe in a field?
There are 3 rules that every hunter should follow when they're hunting with a firearm. Number 1, treat every firearm due to respect a loaded gun. If you treat your firearm as if it's loaded, you'll always, number 2, keep that muzzle pointed in a safe direction. And number 3, when you decide to pull the trigger, make sure of your target, identify it, and know what's beyond it in case you miss.
And remember, life's better outdoors. Visit dnr.sc.gov for more.
There was just a lack of Black women, business owners, entrepreneurs, creatives. Growing up, I didn't see that. I figured out that I wanted to be a photographer for women of color. I found my niche and I'm sticking to it.
Each year, the South Carolina Education Lottery raises millions of dollars for scholarships and grants that help students prepare for their dream career. Just like Kristen, your passion is our purpose.
Hey folks, mortgage rates have dipped to their lowest levels in recent history, and with home values up in many areas, now may be the perfect time to refinance your home. Whether you're looking to lower your monthly payments, free up cash for home improvements, or just pay off your home faster, a quick call to the one and only Stuart Wingo of Ameris Bank could save you money. If you're looking for competitive rates and exceptional service, call Stuart Wingo. 803-319-1777. That's 803-319-1777. You will save money just like I have so many times over the years. You can also visit him, amerisbank.com/Stuart Wingo. Stuart Wingo, the man with the plan for all your mortgage needs.
Okay, we're back at Sports Talk here on the Sports Talk Media Network. Your home for the best coverage of the Palmetto Bowl 2021. You realize this is the first time that South Carolina Clemson will have played back-to-back in Columbia since 58-59, going back to the end of Big Thursday. 58-59, then it went to Clemson in 60, back and forth every year, except we didn't play last year up at Clemson, and they kept the rotation in place by coming back to Columbia this year. Our poll question of the week, of course, now we're down to the week. So based off of what you saw this past week, South Carolina beating Auburn, Clemson beating Wake Forest, how do you feel about the game? 38% now are picking the Gamecocks to win close. That's the majority of 412 votes in the last day. 38% are picking the Gamecocks close. 22% 33% are picking Clemson close, and 22% are picking Clemson by a lot. So 55% are going with Clemson in total. 6.6% see the Gamecocks winning by a lot. But the majority are saying the Gamecocks close. That's what happens when you beat an Auburn at home and you're feeling good about yourself. Gamecocks are getting a little cocky, so to speak. No pun intended. Let's go to Tiger Bryan in Lancaster. Tiger Bryan, good to have you with us. Hope you have a great Thanksgiving coming up this week, and I know you're looking forward to the ball game.
You know it, brother. Hey, I'm going to tell you what.
they will never be able to stop our defense. And we run the ball so good. I mean, we playing with a injured quarterback. I mean, come on now. I mean, they ain't got a chance. It'll be 34-10. Gamecock Dawson. Hey, my cousin. He'll be there.
Mm-hmm.
He'll be there. He's a big Gamecock man. He got, them big rich people tickets. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, tell him he'll be crying on the way home.
All right. So you're not going. Your cousin won't take you.
No, I wouldn't go down there. I don't go down there.
No.
I don't go to Columbia.
Okay. No.
I don't go to Columbia, brother.
Okay. All right.
Hey, I hope y'all have a happy Thanksgiving. I appreciate y'all. Hey, go Tigers!
All right, Tiger Brian. Tiger Brian sees the Tigers winning big. Couple of predictions there in favor of the Tigers. We're taking your predictions as well throughout the week. 888-898-2525, South Carolina Education Lottery. Lucky number. Let's go to Brian from Tiger Brian, just plain old Brian in Lexington. Brian, welcome in. How are you? Hey, Brian, are you with us? Brian in Lexington. We have Brian. Try him again. You want to go to Billy in Somerville? Let's try Billy in Somerville. Billy, welcome in. How are you?
Hey, Phil. How y'all doing?
Hey, we're doing great. Thank you.
Yeah, I got a couple of questions for you after this weekend, and I'll hang up and listen. The first question I got is, after Saturday and after we saw Carolina do against Florida, how do y'all feel? Do you think the game's going to be closer than what people think this year? Do you think we got a better chance of competing against Clemson than we had in the last couple of years, or what do you think?
Absolutely. I think this will be a close ball game. I'll be surprised if it gets out of hand. I still don't believe. I know Clemson had 500 and something plus against Wake, and but this is I almost said it.
But
I almost said the Gamecocks are better than Wake. Could the Gamecocks beat Wake Forest, Smitty? Maybe so. But
watching that Wake Forest game, they didn't seem like they were in a game at all. It seemed like they just weren't energized for it, from what I saw.
Well, I think that Clemson came out with the defense and made a very quick declarative statement. They hit the quarterback in the mouth from the get-go. I mean, they were all over him, and it just took Wake Forest out of their game. It just took Wake Forest out of their game.
That's kind of like what Carolina Stephen's got to do to Clemson's quarterback when they can start. Because when he's under pressure, that's when he breaks down. The other two questions I have. One, what kind of bowl do you think Carolina will play in? And I've asked this question before. If Florida State somehow were to beat Florida, what would the chances of a Florida State-South Carolina matchup be in the bowl game?
Yeah, possible. I think South Carolina is looking at, of course, it'll be in the hands of the SEC. And, of course, when they put these bowl games together, they talk with the school president, the AD, and the SEC working with the TV partners, put this thing together. I mean, I think South Carolina will be in that lower tier, obviously, with only at most 7 wins, maybe 6-6. But I think you're looking at Gasparilla down there in Tampa. You're looking at Birmingham Bowl, perhaps, maybe Liberty Bowl. One of those last bowls to be filled after everything else is put into place. That's kind of where I think the Gamecocks will fall. But they'll be happy with any of that, believe me. The extra practice you get, playing for a trophy, national television on that day, and those games pretty much stand alone too. You know, they don't have to really share the docket with anybody else because they're so spread out in that early part of the bowl schedule. So all that's good for South Carolina. They'll be happy to take it. All right, we'll continue with your calls after the top of the hour break.
By the way, before we do what's supposed to happen here, thank you for pushing the button. I thank you. Programming thanks you. America thanks you.
WQXL Columbia, W264DF.
From the Bart Fireside Studio, the solution for keeping you warm this winter.
This is 107 The Point.
News this hour from townhall.com. I'm Jason Walker. As the investigation continues in Wisconsin in Waukesha, Police Chief Dan Thompson says he wants to dispel a couple of rumors about what led to that parade incident.
There's no pursuit that led up to this incident. This is not a terrorist event.
And 5 people have been killed, most of them elderly, 48 others injured, including a number of children. A 39-year-old man remains in custody. President Biden renominating Jerome Powell to a second term as chairman of the Federal Reserve.
After a lengthy decision-making process, the president wants Powell to stay on for another 4-year term. The selection of Powell is an endorsement of his economic stewardship throughout the pandemic recession. In a White House statement, Mr. Biden says the U.S. needs stability and independence at the Federal Reserve. He also is nominating Democrat Lael Brainerd as vice chair. She was the preferred alternative to Powell among many liberal lawmakers. Greg Clugston, Washington.
Also at townhall.com, sales of previously occupied homes ticking higher in October, their strongest pace since January.
The National Association of Realtors says existing home sales rose by 0.8% last month compared to September, up to a seasonally adjusted annual rate of 6.34 million units. According to FactSet, that was stronger than the 6.18 million units that economists had been expecting. Analysts credit historically low mortgage rates for keeping home sales strong, along with continued job growth and a stock market at all-time highs. Bob Agnew reporting.
An Alaska man charged with threatening the lives of 2 U.S. senators pleading not guilty. J. Allen Johnson's attorney entering the plea on his behalf in Fairbanks in court today. Johnson arraigned after being indicted by a grand jury last week on 6 counts, including threatening to murder a U.S. official. More on these stories at townhall.com.
Your pets have the same energy they used to? Do they have problems with itching, scratching, a dull coat, or goopy ears? Then your pets need Dinovite.
DINOVITE.com.
For over 20 years, pet owners have trusted Dinovite to supplement their pet's diet.
We started Dinovite, and in our first box, we noticed a difference.
Dinovite is an all-natural daily supplement made from whole foods that help support your pet's immune system, digestion, skin, and coat.
Within 3 weeks, he's not scratching and itching, and he's an all-around happier dog.
Today's commercial pet foods are processed at high temperatures, which bakes out all the essential goodness. These processed foods can lack the essential vitamins, enzymes, and probiotics that contribute to overall good health. Adding a scoop of Dinovite to your pet's food bowl is the answer.
If you love your pets as much as I do, you'll want to do what's best for them to live long, healthy, happy lives. I have 2 cats and 2 dogs. All 4 of them are on the Dinovite.
You won't believe how happy your dog will be.
DINOVITE.com.
Right direction or wrong track? Bernie Bennett explains.
30% of likely U.S. voters think the country is heading in the right direction, according to a new Rasmussen Report National Telephone and Online Survey for the week ending November 18th, 2021. This week's finding is down 3 points from a week ago. That means 70% of those surveyed think the country is heading in the wrong direction. The National Telephone Survey of 2,500 likely voters was conducted from November 14th through the 18th. The margin of error was minus 2 percentage points with a 95% level of confidence. Bernie Bennett reporting.
Disney has paused its policy requiring Florida-based employees to take the vaccine following new laws passed by the state legislature last week that limits employers' power to require vaccinations. Now, the company has informed employees that it paused the requirement due to the legislature's action. The company also cited an appeal court's temporary delay. Breaking news and analysis at townhall.com.
The Dennis Prager Show weekdays at noon right here on The Point. Take time for a visit to PragerU. We'll tackle today's issues, interview intriguing newsmakers, do some teaching and some learning together on 100.7 The Point and MakeThePointRadio.com.
WQXL Columbia, W264DF.
From the Bart Fireside Studio, the solution for keeping you warm this winter.
This is 107 The Point. I'm here to fill time because, as everyone knows, when a radio station has dead air, Daddy loses money. Albeit these guys are getting such a deal, Daddy's not losing that much money. So take that, Mr. No Raise in 48 years.
Welcome back to Sports Talk on the Sports Talk Media Network. You can reach the guys with the South Carolina Education Lottery lucky number, 888-898-2525. That's 888-898-2525. Now back to Phil, Chris, and Pat with the second hour of Sports Talk on the Sports Talk Media Network.
Okay, we're back, hour number 2 on this Monday night of the Palmetto Bowl week of 2021. Looking forward to it with you every night this week except for Thursday night, because that, of course, is Thanksgiving. Our phone number, 888-898-2525, South Carolina Education Lottery lucky number for you to reach us. Recruiting coming up. And let me do a few little quick notes here. First of all, South Carolina lost one of its really great supporters, but was a really good football player for them and played in the NFL. Punky Holler passed away on Sunday as a result of injury suffered in a traffic accident about 10 days before. And our good friend Jim Corbett is part of the law firm, partner with Punky Holler here in Columbia. So we send out our condolences, best wishes to the family and all involved there. Very sorry to hear that news. Also, want to send out a shout out to our good friend Mustin Kipasi up in Spartanburg, if he's able to. I know Mustin is listening to Sports Talk, a little bit under the weather. We wish him well and quick recovery and get better so you can get out and support your Gamecocks. I saw Mustin from time to time on the road this past season, and I know if he can't be in Columbia in person on Saturday night, he'll be there in spirit, rooting on his Gamecocks, hoping that this is the time that the streak will come to an end. Let's see, a couple of other notes of importance to pass along to you. Let's see. Oh, NCAA stats this week. Clemson total offense is 95. Total defense is 15. Coastal total offense is 7. Total defense is 19. And USC total offense this week, 111. And total defense is 48. Citadel cornerback Dominique Poole and wide receiver Jalen Witcher of Presbyterian, 2 of the 23 finalists for the Jerry Rice Award, goes to the FCS National Freshman of the Year. Also, Jalen Sneed, the linebacker from Hilton Head, who's headed to Notre Dame, is a finalist for the Butkus Award for the top high school linebacker in the country. We mentioned the USC women advancing to the Elite Eight of the NCAA women's tournament. The Clemson men are in the Sweet 16 for the third season in a row. They beat Denver over the weekend to advance in that tournament. So we got some soccer to keep our eyes on as well. Let's see, what else? Charleston Southern Chandra Mims, one of 25 finalists for the FCS Buck Buchanan Award. Coastal quarterback Grayson McCall, the Sun Belt Conference Offensive Player of the Week. Clemson offensive tackle Jordan McFadden, Offensive Lineman of the Week in the ACC. Kobe Pace is the running back of the week. Will Shipley is the co-rookie of the week. USC offensive guard Javon Gwynn is the co-offensive player of the week in the SEC. How often does an offensive lineman get offensive player of the week? And offensive lineman fullback Trey Jones is the freshman of the week. And let's see, told you that. Okay, those were a few notes to pass along to you. So, by the way, the Mayo Bowl in Charlotte would be another possibility for South Carolina. Forgot to mention that. We were talking about potential landing spots for the Gamecocks. So, the Mayo Bowl, that'd be funny. Clemson opened the season, the Mayo Classic, and the Gamecocks could close the season in the Mayo Bowl.
And Corn, funny you mentioned that. During the break, I was looking if there had been any new weekly bowl game projections released today. And both College Football News and Yahoo released theirs. And exactly like you're saying, the Duke's Mayo Bowl right now is projecting South Carolina against North Carolina. So that'd be quite a little fun rivalry matchup there.
Revenge.
Yeah. And Clemson right now projected to go to the Cheez-It Bowl against Kansas State, which would be down in Orlando, Florida. That'd be an interesting. Not sure if they've ever played Kansas State.
Brent Venables' old stomping grounds, Kansas State.
I'll take the under in that one.
In the Clemson Kansas State game.
Yeah, whatever it is.
Yeah.
Like if it's 19, I'll take the total points under.
And they have never played before.
Okay. All right. Back to the phones we go. 888-898-2525 is our phone number. So we want to go where next? Is that Bruce in Columbia? Bruce in Columbia. Welcome in, Bruce. How are you?
Hey, Phil, this is Bruce. I'm going to have to go help my fella in the wheelchair. He's out hollering for help. I'm going to have to come back later.
Come back later. Okay.
Thank you.
Yes, sir. More important. Certainly more important than anything we do. Glad you're going to help somebody. So we go from Bruce and work our way to, I'm not sure, Billy in Somerville? Is that who it is? Billy? Brian in Charleston? You say Brian in Charleston?
We're going to go to Ryan down in Charleston. Thanks for joining
Ryan
us.
down in Charleston. Hello, Ryan. Welcome in.
Hey, actually, it's Ron, but that don't matter. Phil, you watched the game.
Where are you calling from?
Charleston.
In Charleston, okay.
So you watched the Clemson game Saturday, right?
I did, yes.
So did you notice, or did you pick up, I mean, obviously Clemson was blowing it up on the line, the defensive line, but the quarterback and the coach kept complaining like there was something going on that Clemson was doing that wasn't on the up and up. I mean, obviously they were frustrated because they couldn't stop anything. But did you see that? Did you notice that? I was just wondering what it was they were seeing that they were complaining about.
Yeah, Smitty was actually there. So, Smitty, did you pick up on what was going on? I mean, I was watching it on television, and I know that they were talking to the official about, maybe some sounds maybe Clemson was making or some movement. What did you see, Smitty?
Yeah, I think that was the discussion. I don't know that for certain, but I believe it was the discussion. Actually, South Carolina got flagged for disconcerting signals in their game against Auburn. And this is something that's going around because the more and more teams are going to the clap, and Wake Forest uses the clap. In other words, Sam Hartman back there from Oceanside Collegiate gives a clap, and then the center will raise his head and give a beat and then snap the ball. And I think the complaint was that sometimes Clemson was clapping to each other and confusing the Wake Forest offensive line. They had 3 false start penalties in the first half. And look, and I don't know, I don't know whose side to take because I'm not down there on the sideline, but I think that's what Wake Forest was concerned about.
Well, obviously the refs didn't see it or they didn't, deem it anything wrong. But yeah, they were complaining about the whole game. So I was just kind of wondering what y'all saw.
Yeah, we did see the coaching staff over there talking to the officials about it. I guess the officials didn't think there was anything to it.
Well, Coach Beamer may want to call the coach from Wake Forest and ask him get a little advice on that because I guarantee you they're going to be blowing up the line on Carolina Saturday too. So.
If I'm not mistaken, now help me here, Smitty, or somebody else. In this rivalry series, don't they like the visiting teams officials from their league come in? So it'll be an ACC crew doing this game.
Absolutely. ACC crew, which means there will be a holding call.
Yeah.
As opposed to the SEC crew when there's never one. And yeah, and I was just thinking about it, Corn. You saw it. I don't know what he did, but JJ Enigbari got called for trying to fool the offense. And he came out and he was clapping and celebrating, and then it turned out it was a 5-yard penalty. That's kind of lost, in the shuffle because South Carolina ended up picking up the win. But that's something I've seen more and more officials call this season.
Don't understand why the NCAA regionalizes or identifies their officials by conferences like that. I mean, because when you do go to bowl games or you play these interconference games and the visiting team's so-called crew is with them, I mean, I'm not saying that they intentionally work in favor of the team from the league they represent, but I mean, that's the image, that's the mindset that the fans will have, that the ACC crew is going to look out for the ACC team, or if it was the other way around, the SEC crew would look out for the SEC team, and that puts everybody under a lot of an unfair microscope.
I agree. I couldn't agree with you more, Corn. So when you reach the playoffs, if it's ACC versus SEC, then you're going to get Big 12. But I couldn't agree more. Imagine a scenario where Ohio State is on the road at Oklahoma, and Ohio State's officials, from the Big Ten, travel down there with them. And then if Ohio State wins, they go to the college football playoff, and the Big Ten makes millions upon millions of dollars. Why are you putting them in that position? I'm like you. I'm not saying that anybody's doing anything untoward, but why do you want to present that image and leave that out there for fans to talk about?
Yeah, I mean, perception, it's the perception that you put out there, and you've created yourself by by doing that. Just call them NCAA officials, man, and mix and match guys and move them around some. And I know they like crews that kind of work together, like in baseball, I guess, in some ways. But still, I think that puts the crews already under the suspicion of the home fans. You got the bulk of the fans, of course, are going to be Gamecock fans. If it's an ACC crew, anything that goes against the Gamecocks, it's not clear cut. It's going to be, you see, there they are taking care of the team, taking care of Clemson. So what you got?
Corn, right there, though. I was waiting tonight to ask this question. Do we think it's actually going to be a Carolina heavy crowd on Saturday, or is it going to be like 2 years ago where the stands were more orange?
No, the Gamecock fans are going to take care of their business this time, I'm sure.
Sure wasn't a great crowd Saturday. If the coaching staff has to be a little disappointed. They couldn't even fill the stadium against a ranked Auburn opponent. Hopefully they can do it this week against Clemson.
They announced the crowd at 70,000. And, I don't know. Much of the upper deck was empty, and much of the deck above the zone was empty. Opposite the big scoreboard, that upper deck was empty. But they said 70,000 were there. So, okay, it is what it is. How about this? Duke, for its game with Louisville, 8,000. 8,000 at Duke for the game with Louisville. But you know what? Alabama didn't have a full house for its game against Arkansas. It had 98,000. It seats 101, had 98,000. You're at that time, which is surprising for Alabama, playing a really good Arkansas team with a chance to go ahead and clinch the West, that the place wasn't just absolutely packed. But, guess it happens everywhere. Let's squeeze in another call here, and then we'll do recruiting as we go to Sam. What we got? We got Sam in Charleston. Is that where we're going next? Sam in Charleston. Sam, welcome into Sports Talk. Rolled in Charleston tonight. Sam, good to have you with us.
Thank you, sir. How you guys been?
We're doing great.
Hey, can I give you a brief update from the college real quick?
Yeah, real quick.
So, I don't have the game on TV. Against Cougars versus Oklahoma State. I could not find the game. Is it on the radio or on TV? And the second question is, how good is Oklahoma State, by the way? Because they're very tough to beat. Because we have to beat Oklahoma State. If we win this tonight, I think it would be a 4-1 conference. What do you think about it?
Well, first of all, the game is on the radio down there on our group of stations down there that carry Sports Talk has the Charleston games. And let's see, it's on television wise, it's on ESPN Plus. So if you can get that, you can watch it. That game will tip off a little bit after 8:00. College of Charleston, Oklahoma State. Oklahoma State 4-1, Charleston 3-1. Going to be a heck of a matchup. So, it'd be fun. Citadel playing at Duke tonight. Winthrop at Washington State, way out there in Pullman, Washington. Georgia Tech is leading Charleston Southern 23-8 in the first half. Kentucky over Albany 15-12. Virginia leads Georgia 17-14. And let's see what else we've got local here. Missouri plays Florida State tonight. Cal plays Florida. Wisconsin beat Texas A&M 69-58. We told you USC women over UConn 73-57. All right, we'll come back and give you the recruiting report after the break. And a couple of minutes with USC women's basketball coach Dawn Staley after their significant win today over UConn 73-57. After falling behind early, Gamecocks turned this game around about halftime, and then in the second half, outscored UConn 40-21, including only 3 points by the Huskies in that fourth quarter. We're back in a moment.
Life, it has its ups and downs. Sometimes it's little things like hitting every red light or dropping your cell phone. Maybe it's the bills, rent, or pressure at work. But when it comes to the South Carolina Education Lottery, you should never feel like playing will solve everything. The lottery is a game. It's played for fun. So set a dollar amount. Expect not to win and make sure responsibilities, family, friends, and work come first. Visit playresponsiblysc.com.
All South Carolinians aged 5 years and older are now eligible for the COVID-19 vaccine.
For help finding a vaccine location in your area, visit scdhec.gov/vaxlocator or call 1-866-365-8110. COVID-19 vaccines are free and don't require ID or insurance. Visit scdhec.gov/vaxlocator or call 1-866-365-8110 to find a vaccine location near you.
The Touchstone Energy Cooperatives Bowl is back for 2020.
Tomorrow, I believe they're closed Wednesday and the rest of the week for the holiday. So I think tomorrow is the last day to get down there this week for the daily luncheon buffet, which is worth the effort to get to. And also, of course, for the very best in the catering business, you want to give Seawells a call and let them handle your next special events, whether it's a wedding reception or a birthday party, a corporate outing, Ward's banquet, business luncheon. They can handle it for you at your location or host it at theirs. Phone number is 803-771-7385 for Seawells. All right, in recruiting tonight, defensive tackle DeAndre Martin of Durham made his official to USC over the weekend with his father and a couple of teammates and said it was great. Couldn't complain about anything. He loved to walk to the stadium, enjoyed watching the game and watching the defensive line work, had conversations with Jimmy Lindsey and Shane Beamer, and those all went well. They let him know that he's the guy they want to take at defensive tackle, the last one they want to take at defensive tackle for this class. He's been committed to Virginia Tech and says he still is. He'll announce for either USC or Virginia Tech on December 15th. And South Carolina has offered two of his teammates, 2023 safety Caleb Spencer and 2023 cornerback Antonio Carter Jr., and those were the two teammates who were in this weekend. Dutch Fork receiver Antonio Williams made an unofficial to Clemson over the weekend, was offered by the Tigers, and the Tigers made the move with him after missing on their top receiver target, Andre Green Jr., earlier in the week when he committed to North Carolina. Williams has taken officials to USC and Ole Miss this fall. He's scheduled to go to Auburn this weekend, and Georgia has also been in the mix. USC made a PWO offer to place kicker Upton Belafont of Murfreesboro, Tennessee. He was in Saturday for the Auburn game. Some other visits this weekend that were expected to happen or did happen. Chapin receiver Xavier Short to USC. Athlete Jamian Risher of Wade Hampton to USC. 2023 athlete Musa Kane of Blairstown, New Jersey to Clemson. 23 offensive lineman Luke Montgomery of Findlay, Ohio to Clemson. 23 offensive lineman Brian Williams Jr. of Lawrenceville, Georgia to USC. 23 linebacker Carez Lambert of Wilson to USC. 23 Camden defensive tackle Xavier McLeod to NC State. 23 receiver Tyler Brown of Greenville to USC. 23 offensive tackle Zechariah Owens of McDonough, Georgia to USC. 23 corner Brandon Sisse of Lakewood to NC State. 23 quarterback Raheem Jeter of Spartanburg to West Virginia. 24 quarterback Jaden Davis of Catawba Ridge to Clemson. 24 quarterback Jaden Bradford of Chapin to Notre Dame. 24 receiver Jonathan Paler of Burlington, North Carolina to USC. 24 receiver Mazio Bennett of Greenville to USC. 24 receiver running back Cortez Lane of Camden to NC State. 24 receiver Avery McFadden of Hillcrest to USC. 24 offensive tackle Cam Pringle of Woodland to Clemson. 25 fullback linebacker Brock Feinberg of Wando to USC. USC target 2023 quarterback Dylan Lonergan of Snellville, Georgia was at Stanford over the weekend. USC made several new offers. 2023 safety Jordan Castell of Winter Garden, Florida. 23 receiver Tyler Williams of Lakeland, Florida. 23 linebacker Jordan Hall of IMG Academy. 23 defensive back receiver Antonio Cotman Jr. of Colonial Heights, Virginia. 23 athlete Colton Hood of McDonough, Georgia. 23 receiver Bryson Rogers of Zephyr Hills, Florida. 24 linebacker Miles Graham of Fort Myers, Florida. Clemson offered 2023 quarterback Christopher Vazina of Birmingham. 2023 defensive end Montique Rames of Summer was offered by UCF. Clemson made the top 10 with 2023 linebacker Malik Bryant of IMG Academy. The others are Arizona State, Alabama, Georgia, Ohio State, Oklahoma, Maryland, Oregon, Florida, Miami. USC 2023 baseball commitment Caleb Hampton of Chattanooga, who's also a running back and a running back prospect. He plans to be at USC on Saturday. Also, 2023 tight end Ethan Davis of Sewanee, Georgia, has set December 21st for his commitment announcement. His final 7 are USC, Georgia, Cincinnati, Tennessee, Ole Miss, Penn State, and Florida State. And that brings us to the end of our recruiting report for tonight, brought to you by Seawells. All right, quickly back to the phones. We've got First and 10 with Zach coming up, then a few minutes with Dawn Staley, wrap it up with Monday Night Mick. And so we are headed next to Bubba in Columbia. Bubba. This Bubba? Bubba in Columbia. Bubba, welcome in. How are you?
I'm doing good. How about y'all?
Man, I'm doing great. I love people named Bubba. That's just a great name. Was that your birth name or they just gave you that name?
Nah, the middle brother of 3. You know, you can't say brother on one side or the other.
So you're just a Bubba.
That's right.
Yeah.
What about Final Four in each division? What you think? The high school playoffs.
Oh, the high school playoffs. The Final Four. You mean like you mean like an overview, or what are you asking in particular?
Yeah, the overview. Who you like?
Oh my goodness! I have to go through each of the brackets. I mean, I don't know. We got some great matchups. Dutch Fork and Fort D, that should be really good. Spartanburg Gaffney should be dynamite. What do you think?
Well, I've just got a South Point interest, and I was just curious what you think about South Point and Greenville and the West Florence Beaufort matchups.
Okay, now you're narrowing it down a little bit. South Point and Greenville, that should be a matchup of some great offensive players on the Greenville side, the quarterback, the receivers. South Point has a terrific defensive team. I don't know. I might lean towards Greenville there a little bit. I know you kind of like South Point.
Yeah, I'd say South Point's strong point's probably their offense. Myself, I've seen them every game this year. They're pretty offensively leaning.
Well, you would know more than I. I'll take your word for it. I do like Greenville's offense. They can score points. Maybe it's just going to be a shootout. Hey, thanks for the call. Got to hit a break.
On Point Weather is made possible by our friends at Palmetto Citizens Federal Credit Union on 107 The Point.
And here's tonight's forecast. Very chilly this evening with low temps dipping to 31. Tomorrow morning will be very cold with wind chill temps in the mid-20s. We will get a sunny day, though, with a high of 54. Tomorrow night's low is 27. Chilly on Wednesday with sun and 55. Warmer for Thanksgiving Day with a high of 65 and a mix of sun and clouds. Brian Leonard with you on Point Local Weather.
Hey, Tiger fans, 2022 Clemson baseball season tickets are currently on sale. Coach Monty Lee and your Clemson Tiger baseball team open the season on February 18th, and you can be there for every game by purchasing your season tickets. Home series include matchups against Miami, Florida State, NC State, Georgia Tech, as well as our annual home games against South Carolina and Georgia, and many more. So log on to ClemsonTigers.com to purchase your Clemson baseball tickets and come back home to Clemson.
With SRN News, I'm Jason Walker. Police say the suspect in that deadly Christmas parade crash in suburban Milwaukee had been in a domestic disturbance just a few moments before he ran down 5 people, killing them and injuring 48 more. Waukesha Police Chief Dan Thompson says there is no evidence of terrorism in the event, and he adds authorities are preparing 5 charges of intentional homicide against 39-year-old Darrell Brooks of Milwaukee. Legislative investigation finding, quote, overwhelming evidence that former New York Governor Andrew Cuomo engaged in sexual harassment and ordered state workers to help him produce his book during state working hours. The report also finds Cuomo's executive chamber substantially revised a state report to exclude deaths in nursing home residents. This is SRN News.
Right now, Dave Ramsey here. Do you want your money to work for you rather than you working for your money? Go see my friends at Palmetto Citizens Federal Credit Union. They're not a mega bank and have been serving the Midlands since 1936, offering good old-fashioned customer service and free services. They'll look out for your financial well-being. With 14 locations, check them out today at palmettocitizens.org. Federally insured by the NCUA.
Now, who could that be?
It's Dominion Energy. I signed us up for a home energy checkup. It's time we learn how to save energy and money.
Well, how much does it cost?
Not a dime. It's free, and it only takes about an hour. Plus, we get a report on things we can do to make our home more energy efficient.
I don't know. Sounds too good to be true.
No. See for yourself at DominionEnergySC.com.
Where?
DominionEnergySC.com.
Certain restrictions apply.
Kevin Cohen here with Tim Hanberry from Medicare Blueprint. So, Tim, it is open enrollment now for Medicare. How does that impact our listeners at the point?
Well, Kevin, now's the time for you to review your Medicare Advantage plan because they can and do change each year. You'll need to make sure that your prescriptions are still covered and at what cost. So what should you do? First, give us a call. We'll ask you a few questions. We'll find out what your prescriptions are and what doctors you see. Then we'll find the best plan for you. We'll do all the work for you. We'll even make sure to show you all the additional benefits you're entitled to.
Yeah, listen, I called Tim and his team, and it's just like he says. We've cut our healthcare costs considerably. So don't waste time. Don't waste this opportunity during open enrollment. Give Tim a call at Medicare Blueprint, 803-708-7405, or find him online at MedicareBlueprint.com. That's 708-7405 or MedicareBlueprint.com.
A well-regulated humidor being necessary to the preservation of a cigar, the right of the people to keep and enjoy cigars shall not be infringed. For those who love a great cigar and want to spend time with others who are like-minded, the Cigar Militia offers the experience you're looking for. We're located in the Colonial Village next to the Melting Pot. The Cigar Militia offers exceptional cigars from around the world, staff to assist you in your selections, private cigar lockers, and a lounge where members can relax and enjoy.
Hi, honey. Were you able to drop by Tree Pharmacy today to pick up Mom's medications?
Yes, she sure is on a lot of meds.
I know. That's why I go over so often, to help make sure she's taking them correctly.
Well, I have great news. The pharmacist at True Pharmacy said he can pre-pack her medications into individual doses.
Wow. Knowing she's taking the right meds at the right time will give me great peace of mind. But how much does it cost?
That's the even better part. It's free. Just another great service they offer at True Pharmacy. True Pharmacy, 2 locations, Charleston Highway in West Columbia and Devine Street downtown.
I love tweets on our Twitter timeline sometimes. Neil tweeted at us, popular opinion, or possibly unpopular opinion, the old Palmetto Trophy, also known as the Hardee's Trophy, was better looking and had more history than the current Palmetto Bowl Trophy. Well, it has more history. I mean, it was around longer. The Palmetto Bowl Trophy itself is a newcomer to the rivalry. Better looking, I don't know. That thing was gaudy. That old Hardee's Trophy thing, that thing was big. Now, if you wanted something big, what they've got now is small. But the old Hardee's Trophy, that thing was huge. What you've got now would kind of fit on your hood, a hood ornament on your car would look very good. But anyway, thought that was kind of funny on our timeline. Speaking of time, it's time to welcome in for another edition of First and 10 here on Sports Talk. Once again, we get the week rolling with some expert analysis of USC and Clemson from the previous weekend. And looking ahead to the game coming up, we welcome in the coach, Zach Willis, to Sports Talk. Coach, good evening. How are you?
Doing great, Phil. Hope you guys are as well.
Man, we're fired up, jacked up, skied up for Saturday and everything this week. Best week of the year, if you ask me, except for opening week. Opening week's always great. So let's begin with Clemson and their win over Wake Forest. Pretty dominant performance from the Tigers. What'd you see?
I thought it was their best performance all year long. Obvious improvement for the first time. I thought everybody looked better. I tell you, a running game as good a running performance as they've had probably in a few years, honestly, against a quality 10th ranked Wake Forest team. And we were talking about how wild it'd be to say, they got to worry about Wake Forest. It showed that one thing held true. They did not have to worry about them. They dominated that game and really impressive.
I liked how their defense just came out from the very beginning, as they tend to do at Clemson, and just set the tone.
Absolutely. I mean, that looked like, and of course, we talked about, we really can't say anything negative about their defense. They played great all year long for the most part, but man, they were on fire against a very good Wake Forest football team. I don't think people need to overlook them. They beat a good football team Saturday and did it in convincing fashion, which is the first time that's happened all year.
Caller asked me earlier, and I try to give my best answer, but I'm no coach. He wanted to know, with Clemson bringing pressure, when they bring blitzes and everything like that on Saturday, how's the best way to attack that offensively? I suggested a screen pass or two is a great way to counteract pressure coming at you from the second level. What do you think?
I think that's a really good answer, Phil. Honestly, it depends on the situation and what you've got set up. This is a big game for what we call self-scout, where you go back and see what your own tendencies are as an offense. When you get blitz, that's what Clemson's going to be expecting, and you change it up. The formations you're in, where you're most vulnerable to pressure, you get in them, you invite the pressure, and you bring, maybe you've been using screens all year, maybe you bring a draw or even the old-fashioned trap play, which is a little bit harder to do when you're not under center, but is a backbreaker against an even or odd front defense, 3 or 4 man down line. Clemson is very good when they run at you. The key to them is if you can get on the perimeter when they blitz you, whether it's by pass, which you most likely would throw it, that's a big area for them where now it's one-on-one. And South Carolina's got some guys that can make people miss. That's going to be a big key to that football game. Screens and draws are good, or just swing passes. We call them hot passes. When you've got a free rusher coming at you, dump it over his head to a back or a wide receiver who's in a shallow route. Those are all good answers. The key, though, is executing them against that great defense. Not easy to do.
Yeah, I think that if South Carolina can somehow manage to get Zaquandre White out in space with a dump pass, screen pass, what you're talking about, That dude can make some plays, and he's got some speed. Let's go to the South Carolina side of things, and the way they held together, down 14-0 to Auburn, rallied to win that game, and basically their defense did a great job against Auburn after those first couple of touchdowns. One came off a pick, but they did a really good job the last three quarters, keeping that game within reach, and then the offense did enough to win.
Oh, absolutely. A couple of things they had going in their direction is, I liked them to have a great chance to win that ball game. And the main reason was, Auburn's missing its quarterback who had the escapability the big kid didn't have. That helped South Carolina. The top wide receiver for them was out, and the fact that they didn't play Billingsley for half the game in the running backfield. They go for it on fourth down. Auburn does now. Auburn goes for it on fourth down in the second quarter on their own 35-yard line and takes Tank Billingsley out of the game. He's on the sideline. So what does South Carolina do? They stop him, take advantage of it, get a score off of it, and as you said, thank you very much. And they took advantage of every Auburn miscue and won that football game. It was an excellent job of being steady, being composed, competing with everything you have, and beating a team that probably had a good chance to beat you. Obviously, they did, but you caught them. You took advantage of every mistake, and that's how you win those games. And that's if they're going to be competitive with Clemson, and I believe they will. They've got to do the same thing this coming week. But great job on staying composed when you were down and taking advantage of the mistakes by the other team. And the one that usually makes the most mistakes is the one that loses. And Carolina definitely deserved that ball game. It was really well done by them.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we've got Zach Willis on 1st and 10. Zach, I want to ask you. So I'm trying to get into the mind of a coach, how you view this. So Clemson obviously wants to run the football. South Carolina does too. But South Carolina's better than Wake Forest is athletically. How do you watch tape as a coach to determine if you're going to be able to run the football on a defense? Is it individual matchups? Is it the way they tackle or a line? What are you looking for that we as fans don't know until game day, and on a Tuesday or a Wednesday?
Well, what I see right now, the first thing that they have to do is win by playing keep away. And they need to keep, South Carolina needs to keep the Clemson defense on the field as much as possible and wear them down, because Dave Clawson mentioned this, kind of stole my thunder last week, but Clemson's got some depth issues due to injury right now on the defensive side of the ball. Trust me, their starting guys are as good as anybody in the country on defense, and they show it every week, but you can wear them down. But that means South Carolina has to find a way to stay on the field, and they have to find a way to 3-and-out Clemson's offense, which I think is very doable this year. And you start there. You load the box. You force DJ to beat you. The quarterback cannot beat you at Clemson right now. If he does, he does. You live by the sword, you die by the sword. But your best bet, load that box up, 8 or 9 guys, run the ball very, 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 very hard, almost impossible, and force him to beat you with his arm and his decision-making ability. Hopefully you get them off the field or turn them over, and you wear Clemson down in the fourth quarter, and I'm talking about their defense, and you win it then. But you're not going to be able just to line up and run over them in the first quarter. Their play calling was much better Saturday. Misdirection, using tendencies, and I don't want to ramble, but using tendencies that they've seen out of your offense all year long and breaking those tendencies. Having counter plays off of your most popular plays to create mismatches and missteps by that extremely athletic, well-disciplined Clemson defense. It will not be easy, but that's the game plan I would use in a nutshell.
Coach, one other thing about the running game, and I mean this, and I'm saying this humbly. There is something we're missing, and so you can help us out. Korn said early on, hey, you've got to play Zaquandre White. Well, the year comes and goes. He's averaging 6.9 yards a carry. I saw Kobe Pace play early. I said, I'm just a regular guy. I said week 2, Kobe Pace is the answer, and now he's averaging 6.9 yards a carry. What is it that coaches, why they are slow sometimes to play the guy that's producing? Is it something in practice, or they have to be better in pass protection? What is it about it that was keeping these two guys off the field? Now we're here, and me and Phil were on board with these guys, but the coaches weren't until the end of the season.
Well, I think a lot of things. Number one is personality. There may be a personality conflict there. Obviously, we know the running back room at Clemson has been a bit volatile with they've lost a lot of running backs to transfer portal. And you've got a young coach in C.J. Spiller who's feeling his way along. And, the kids have to respect him. And from what I've heard, honestly, what Dabo said in press conferences and been very open, they've had some conflict there. I don't know if Pace was a part of that, but I think he's become a very big part of what they do. Jacondre White, I thought, had his best game, but he's shown flashes, as has Pace all year long, of being a extremely athletic, elusive football player. Harris is back now too. That makes South Carolina double tough there. And I feel like, the other running backs at Clemson are right now, they're hitting on all cylinders. Both running games look really, really strong right now. I think obviously we would give the edge to Clemson just based on what they've done in the past. But I don't know. I mean, I think Clemson's going to face the most talented defensive front they've seen since Georgia. But South Carolina's got some legit five-star. They've proven they can play defensive linemen. And they really did a great job against Auburn. They did a great job against Florida and some other folks. And I'm going to say this. I think South Carolina, one thing we're going to see, they're going to come to play. They're going to compete. And I think that as far as the running back position goes, a lot of times the kids' work ethic is the on-time for meetings. There are little things behind the scenes that we can't gauge. And that's why I always reserve a little bit of criticism of why are you playing this kid. We don't know what goes on off the field. Is he struggling in school? And coaches use those things, especially character coaches like the two that we've got coaching these teams now, I'm very happy to say. And I can see them sitting them out a series or two if they're not doing something they're supposed to off the field. It could literally be just that simple, and they've grown up and matured, and now they're where they need to be, and both teams are running the ball with authority.
Coach, as always, great having you with us. You and the family have a great Thanksgiving. Enjoy all the turkey you can put down, and we'll do it again next week in reverse. We'll look back at things and see how it went in the Palmetto Bowl, and then look ahead to what's ahead for both teams. As always, we appreciate it. We'll talk to you next week.
Have a great week, guys.
Thank you so much. Zach Willis, 1st and 10 with us here on Sports Talk on this Monday night. Tonight was Tiger Burn, by the way. That's one of the great traditions at South Carolina that they have maintained over the decades. Now going into we're into the second century of it, I guess. It started, back in the 1900s. Now they're doing it in the 2000s. That's something South Carolina has always done really well. The week of the Clemson game, the Tiger Burn thing, and they had that go down tonight over on the campus. Back after this break.
Relax on and off the field with Founders Federal Credit Union. With services like Founders Online and the Founders app, you'll enjoy all the perks of a big bank with local personalized service. If you're looking for low rates, look to Founders. Not a member? Joining Founders Federal Credit Union is easy. Visit relaxjoinfounders.com or one of our more than 30 office locations to see if you qualify for membership. Services require credit evaluation. Terms and conditions apply. Founders Federal Credit Union is federally insured by NCUA.
Hi, I'm State Treasurer Curtis Loftus, and I've got a great gift idea that requires zero shopping, the gift of college savings. Future Scholar, South Carolina's 529 college savings plan makes it easy. Grandparents, friends, and family can all contribute to a Future Scholar account and know that they're providing a gift that will last a lifetime. If you're looking for the perfect gift this holiday season, look no further. Learn more about the smart, easy way to save and give this holiday season at futurescholar.com.
In Columbia, South Carolina, game days are our specialty. Whether you're watching the game from inside the stadium or from the big screen at your favorite local spot, the energy remains the same. Craft the perfect fall Saturday in a city where there is plenty of action on and off the field. From tubing and kayaking to Soda City to rooftop restaurants and plenty of barbecue. We're ready when you are. Plan your weekend at ExperienceColumbiaSC.com.
Your home is where your memories live. It's where you laugh and where you love. We understand the importance of the valuables under your roof, tangible and intangible alike. So no matter what's around the corner, we'll be there, offering you and your family the support that's made Farm Bureau Insurance a trusted name for nearly 70 years. You deserve more. You deserve a promise. Learn more at scfbins.com.
Call me, Alex Satterfield, at 803-749-9171 for all of your Midlands insurance needs.
The Touchstone Energy Cooperatives Bowl is back for 2021, showcasing the best South Carolina high school football has to offer. Get your tickets now at TouchstoneEnergyBowl.com and make plans to join us in Myrtle Beach on December 11th in celebration of Palmetto State All-Stars from the Upstate, Midlands, PD, Grand Strand, and Low Country. Visit TouchstoneEnergyBowl.com for a full schedule of the week's events leading up to the game and Mr. Football South Carolina award presentation.
Hunter Helms in at quarterback, drops straight back in the end zone, fires deep. He's got a receiver up the seam. 45, 50, 40, 30, 20, 10, 5. Touchdown for Omarion Dollison.
That's the Touchstone Energy Cooperatives Bowl, kicking off at Myrtle Beach High School's Doug Shaw Memorial Stadium, 12:30 Saturday, December 11th. Get your tickets now at TouchstoneEnergyBowl.com.
All right, been talking a lot of football, update some basketball that's going on as we speak. Georgia Tech leading Charleston Southern 42-29. Kentucky over Albany 37-28. Georgia 32, Virginia 31. And that's it for the games involving SEC, ACC teams or state teams besides Wisconsin beating Texas A&M 69-58. And, of course, the USC women beat Connecticut 73-57 to win the Battle for Atlantis championship in the Bahamas. Here is Dawn Staley after the ball game talking with the media. She was asked about that great defense. They only gave up 3 points in the fourth quarter. She was asked about that defensive effort.
I mean, our players are determined. They are resilient. We knew exactly what we had to do, especially on the defensive side of the ball. We had to disrupt. UConn's a team in which, they're a well-oiled machine. If you allow them to just run their stuff, they made teams look stupid. And when you have the personnel to be able to just disrupt and force them into contested shots and not uncontested shots, you give yourself a chance to win. Our defense did a super job just for 40 minutes. And it wasn't, you didn't really see the impact in the first half. It is the third and fourth quarters are when you start feeling what our defense does to the teams. So I'm super proud of our players.
All right, we'll take a couple questions from the room before we go back to the gym. Go ahead. Aaliyah, you had 15 rebounds, and the team as a whole had a huge edge on the glass. Was that a particular focus? I'm sure it's always a focus going into games, but specifically against UConn to just dominate that and really dominate that phase of the game.
Yes, it definitely was. Coach just talked about the guards, especially when they're driving to get it up on the glass because the post players come over to help. And so I just wanted to make sure I was crashing the boards, even if I didn't put it back up, but it gave us another chance for another possession.
All right, go ahead.
So Asia Wilson tweeted out that when Don Staley starts twirling that ponytail, walking to the locker room, they know they mean business. So Zaya and Aaliyah, I want to know what she said to y'all during halftime, as much as y'all can give us, and how that changed you around.
I think Coach was pretty calm in the locker room. She just gave us a few plays that she thought would work for us, and she told us we was in the game. She kept us all motivated, and that's pretty much. She was super calm.
Only did that because Asia Wilson needed me to be a certain way because she's unfocused. Okay?
Dawn, just this whole experience playing high-level competition and playing well against high-level competition in November, how much does that help the whole evolution of the team? And how much do you see teams evolve from November to March?
Well, it's helped us a great deal. This is kind of what we've done actually since I've been coaching at Temple University. We've always played a tough schedule just to measure ourselves. We probably upped the ante a little bit, especially when we have the personnel. They've been here for 3 years. They They played at a high level when they first came, South Carolina, and they need to be challenged. You know, I mean, we could schedule some cupcakes and possibly get our younger players a little bit more playing time and experience, but you have to feed them. You know, they want to play the very best teams in the country, and they want to measure themselves and they want to prepare themselves for a long career in basketball. You do that playing the best teams.
All right, Dawn Staley, some of what she had to say, a little Aaliyah Boston there, and I think that was Zaya Cook, I think as well, talking after that win. USC men back in action tomorrow night at home against Wofford. A.J. Wilson will make his season debut for the Gamecocks tomorrow night, according to Frank Martin.
Here comes Newton to the left side, 20 to the 15, Newton to the 10. Oh, no, don't score a touchdown. He houses it left side. That's amazing.
It didn't even look like he was sprinting. No, it just plodding along. Now he's going to midfield, sets the ball down, and does his Superman.
All right, the voice of the Panthers, Mick Mixon, and his crew. I think you're the first play-by-play announcer to actually root against his team in mid-play. The roof must have come off that place when that happened yesterday.
Yeah, I'm sorry, Corn. I don't know why I say the things I do sometimes, but what excitement. I mean, just electric with Cam Newton's return. That game had everything. That game had the pomp, the circumstance, the storylines, the intrigue, the drama, and all it lacked was, at least from my standpoint anyway, close the deal, which Carolina could not do.
Yeah, that had to be disappointing to come up short. On the other hand, I mean, it was a day of mixed emotions. You had your former coach, Ron Rivera, back. He gets the win. You had your former quarterback back, and he takes the loss but contributed. I mean, a lot of emotions ebbing and flowing during that game.
It felt like a Faulkner novel. I mean, it just was up and down and twists and turns and good guys, bad guys. I mean, it was incredible. But really the story, it's not as sexy. Everybody loves talking about, me included, love talking about Cam Newton, Christian McCaffrey, Ron Rivera, Joey Sly, Taylor Heineke, and all the rest. But the story of the game, Corn, was not sexy. It was just getting mauled by the Washington offensive line and their ground game. They ran the wide zone, that zone stretch, and the Panthers could not get off blocks.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, Mick Mixon joining us here on Sports Talk. Mick, what about you mentioned the return of Cam Newton. How do you think that's going to work with Matt Rule, Joe Brady? How quickly can they adjust? He brings a lot of excitement, a lot of energy, but what do you think the offense looks like as it evolves over the next 3 or 4 weeks?
Good question, Smitty. I think it's got a chance. I think Cam Newton, as he learns more about this offense, as he gets more nimble with the nuances, with what this offense is capable of, Cam Newton is probably not who he once was, but he's still a dual threat quarterback that can stress a defense in a lot of ways. And the throw he made to McCaffrey down the seam, that was a high level throw. So I think it could work. But, oh, man, just so disappointing that the defense got handled yesterday by Washington. I think most people would have thought, put up 21, don't turn the ball over, put up 21 against Washington. They won't be able to score more than that against the second-ranked Panther defense. But I think now going to Miami, this becomes a gigantic task for the Panthers to try to win, get back to 500, stay in the conversation going into the bye week.
Absolutely. I mean, you started thinking a little about playoffs and trying to get one of the wild cards, before yesterday. But, you still have time. Real quick, what you got coming up on your show tonight?
We're going to talk to Jeremy Chin. Matt Rule joins us live off the top, and then we'll talk to Scott Fitterer, the GM of the Panthers, as well.
As always, we appreciate it, man. Have a great night.
Appreciate you, Corn. See you, Smitty.
Thank you, Mick. Mick Mixon, voice of the Panthers, Monday Night Mick. Thank you, Smitty. Thank you, Pat. Everybody have a great night. Talking Tuesday. Tomorrow, we'll hear from the coaches and more. We'll see you then.